Come in it, baby. Made me think how lucky we have it to be here on a Thursday at 10, listening to all sorts of music, comedy, pretty much everything that you got out there. Because I'm 44 years old, and I think about, my grandfather, right? Like, by the time he was 44, he had fought in World War II, worked digging the subway system in New York City, raised a family and stuff like that. My dad, when he was my age, he died young, but by the time he was my age, he had fought in Vietnam, became an electrician. For me, the toughest part of my life was being in law school. Like, that's so pathetic. In comparison, it's like, oh man, that was really tough there, being in extended college, basically. It was tough being in law school, though, because, even then, before that, I grew up in New York City. Kind of a tough area, but a tough area in Queens, Flushing, which, if anybody knows, it has some bad areas, but also, it's tough, and I got beat up a lot there. But what's tough for me is get beat up by Asians, and that's hard, right? One, it's not quite as understandable, maybe, and also the hardest part too is that people be like, oh man, did he do karate on you and stuff? It's like, nah, just fists, just regular fists. And then I go to school, and they're also honor students, man. They're also the nerds. So I'm getting beat up, and also by the nerds on top of it. It's tough, man. It makes it hard. But I moved up to Rhode Island, live in Smithfield, Rhode Island now, and sometimes I remember too, with my kids, kind of, bullying and stuff like that, and try to keep him from bullying. My oldest guy is tough, though. He tortures my youngest. He's making him cry all the time. And I got to tell my younger guy, I'm like, don't worry, buddy. My older guy's 16. I'm like, 15 years from now, he's going to be going through a divorce, sleeping on your couch, and then you get to see him cry as he goes through it. Kids are tough, though, and they say the darndest things. Kids really do say the darndest things, My younger guy, innocence gets lost now with the internet and stuff like that. He was 11 years old, and we're driving in the car to go get, McDonald's or Burger King, where they still give him a crown. He's kind of in that age. But then on the way there, he asked me, what a cum shot is. And that's hard, man. It's hard to explain to an 11-year-old kid how, that's a question from mom, bud. I have no idea. Let me know when you find out, because I have no clue. I think I have no idea. Even the older ones, though, man, they have knowledge beyond their years. My older guy, he's 15 years old, and I decided, I'm going to have the talk with the birds and the bees, with him. So I kind of explained to him, what a man and a woman, or a man and a man, or a woman and a woman, when they love each other, they'll be intimate. And, a man will put his penis in the vagina or wherever else. And my son's like, all right, I understand, but when do you eat ass? Stuff, First. Do first, not second. But me and their mom, we're divorced. We got divorced. We were married for 13 years, which was about 3 years too many. A lot of people ask me, we had a pretty amicable divorce. At the end of the day, we get along fine. And a lot of people ask, what's the secret? And it's not focusing on the kids or anything like that. It's about slowly withdrawing love between each other over a 10-year period. So you're both just kind of like, are we ready? Can we get this done? Can we get this over with? But it did get me thinking, a marriage certificate, should only be good for 10 years, like a registration. Then you got to renew it. And in order to renew it, you got to fill out paperwork, actual papers, a stack of papers. And you have to bring them to the DMV, the Department of Marriage and Vehicles. You gotta track down a fucking electric bill or a cable bill, a social security card, a driver's license. You gotta go to there at 9:30 a.m. on a Saturday for a 3-hour meeting. What married people among us would do that? Honestly, at the end of the day, it's you got to kill a whole Saturday in January. No way. But a 10-year marriage certificate, get rid of the stigma of getting divorced. You kind of go to a you go to a wedding, right? And they kind of always do that thing, who's been married 40 years, 30 years, a couple of old timers get up and start dancing. With a 10-year marriage certificate, though, you really have to think How horrible are those two people where they couldn't find anybody else and they had to renew that thing twice? That's bad. You'd also get out of what I call the spite marriage, right? Which is when a married couple, they hate each other so much that neither one of them will get divorced because they know it'll make the other person happy. It's the last thing that they want to do. That's commitment. That's commitment. That's commitment. That's commitment. It's tough, too, because, if you're in a marriage too long, one or both spouses start having an affair, and, no one talks about the logistics of it, but maybe if the paramour, the significant other, is also married, you got to figure out, where do you go to have the affair, right? So it starts off, maybe you do, a nice dinner at the, Capitol Grill or something like that, a nice steak, and you go to a Marriott or a nice fancy hotel. Then you get the bill, and it's like, that was expensive. That was expensive. Way cheaper to get a prostitute. Now I get it. Now I understand. Now I understand the allure. But maybe then you kick it down a notch. Maybe you do a Spring Hill Suite, something like that. But that can add up too. Then you're at the Motel 6. And that's tough. That's tough. A lot of people think a giveaway maybe of having an affair is, smelling like perfume or having lipstick on the collar. It's smelling like disinfectant at the Motel 6. That's how you know there's nothing else like that smell. There's nothing else like that smell. You avoid the situation, too, where you got a girlfriend and a wife. You got to figure, who do I get a nicer gift to? The mother of my kids? The one who's been with me through thick and thin? Or the person I care about? That's hard. That's hard. Who gets the better one? Who gets the better one? One tough part, though, about getting divorced, I had to get back into the dating scene, and the best part of getting divorced now, online dating. The worst part about getting divorced, online dating. Online dating, it's tough. I was nervous because, by the time you're hitting up online dating, it's like you don't have any friends that would want to be in a relationship with you. Their friends, none of their friends want to be in a relationship with you. None of those people's friends want to be in a relationship with you. That's halfway to Kevin Bacon, and there's no one who finds you dateable. Nobody. So you resort to online dating, you hit up Tinder or Bumble if you're classy. And I was nervous, how am I going to stack up about, everybody else out there? I'm, 40-year-old guy, nothing, I'm like an NPC, nothing really spectacular about me. Then, I started to read, profiles of women out there, and a common theme was, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse I considered, right? Must have job. All right, that's I understand, but that's tough, with the economy and stuff like that. Everybody hits a spot where they might be unemployed. Don't get too picky. Must have your own house. Okay, but if you're recently divorced or something like that, maybe you got a roommate. Try to get you through those early days. Must have a car. Yeah, kind of understandable. But if you live in the city, if you're in Boston, something like that, you don't need a car. Must have teeth. That's tough. That's tough to explain away. If nothing else, I'm 6 feet tall and I got all my teeth. I realized how valuable that was. And it also got me thinking, if that's the standards, is people who, the bar you're at is, everyone looks like Tom Hanks in the last 5 minutes of Philadelphia. It's time to find a different bar. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Jim Atch. Have a good night.
Next coming to the stage, comedian Corey Bridge. Give it up.